Check it out. Oh, where I am. Ghost of Tsushima. Act 2. Can we keep the game interesting? Can they keep the game interesting? That's what I want to know. I think that the banter between the characters is fun. Pretty interesting. His sort of internal struggle. Being samurai, being an assassin, keeping that honor. We've used all these sneaky tactics to save the his big buddy. And then now that we've done that, the guy's like, why are you doing that? We're gonna get you back to the good old days, the good old ways. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think that's going to be a theme of the game. What's next? You gotta go here and message in the fire. We need samurai reinforcements if we're gonna save our home. I wonder if there's gonna be like a really fun, big, huge war at the end, you know? The giant battle. The Shogun can provide them. Alright. Travel to the southern Umugi Prefecture. I like these sort of like shallow water rice fields. It's pretty neat. Alright, go along the coast. Alright, this is where there's like fire. We could stop along the way and see this guy too. Right. Minor range charm, silk, minor legend. I guess to see how we feel when we get there, right? Again, this Elgato. Way off. I gotta go. No Elgato. Stuff that always annoys me when I'm playing, and then by the time I'm kind of done the session, I don't think about it anymore. Until I start again. This horse is getting blown right off the dock. That's happened to a few sailors. Hey! Grabbing those things as you run by. See, it's nice where, like, this game is obviously trying to be quite realistic in a lot of ways, but then things like that where you don't have to seem to do the animation of grabbing it. You can be pretty far past it before you grab it. Say, well, press R2 until now. And I think I grabbed it. No, I didn't. Too slow. They don't have to be all that close. It's not like Red Dead where they would make you sort of get off your horse and watch like 45 seconds of quite whitetail. Mongols. We find a bash some people around. I guess it's all Mongols here. The jumping still kind of annoys me where you have to jump to get off platforms and stuff. It just always seems like you're going to reveal yourself, you know, when you're trying to be really careful and quiet. Can I do this guy? Yeah. Chatting. Great. The ultimate assassin. Somebody up there? I don't know. Probably not. Ah. Come on, guy. My leg is so bloody. Good. Astounding. Every time I turn this thing on, it's just so impressive. But does that a good game make? No. I mean, there's a part of it that's sort of like, oh, steel, rare. Maybe it's not as rare as I think. I just never seem to find it. Oh, man, cool if you could like grapple onto something from here. Nope. Need more grapple stuff. Like they put it in because it made sense. It's not quite as ubiquitous as I would like. But I guess I feel like I'm just sort of nitpicking. But I guess, you know, like, oh, it's good, but it's not quite. 1% different here would really change it. But I think the thing with games is that everything is in a careful balance with each other. You know, for the overall feel of it. All these little decisions you're making, how everything's interacting. It's really quite something to make. That you would trust somebody to control. What are these, fireworks? What the hell was that? I feel like I didn't hold on to it long enough. Maybe. Got my massage chair back. I know that for a long time I didn't have any back problems. And then they started flaring up and I realized, right, I have this shiatsu chair. You can probably hear like a low hum through the microphone. But it's like pushing these balls right into my back that hurts. So it's good lumbar support too. Yes. What are these guys up to? This is so nice looking. I love this idea of the water being so sort of like flat and shallow for quite a long time. Good God. Look at the sun on that mud. Uh-oh. Sure. Send this. Fake. Oh, they're good at yelling. It's scary. They just get excited. What if wolves are attack each other? Any kind of predators, if they're traveling with a pack, and they're trying to kill something that's alive so they can eat the meat. I think after a while they just go, oh, that hunt failed. If only there was something to eat around here. Now you are my slave.
志村様を助けてくださりありがとうございます。
害を受けたか。
筒とアザモの境にある畑を燃やされてしまいました。丘の上から見えるはずです。
よし、わかった。見ておこ
う。Good to know. Good to know. That's good to know. That's good to know. I've got this fly swatting gun. Check it out. Looks like a ray gun. It's got a spring on it. And this is a little fly swatter, and then a spring. Right now there's a fly in my foot. Well, I hit my foot. And they just load it back on like this. This is like, it's for the rich person in the trailer park. That's something like this. Pew pew. Check it out. Quite a delay in my camera. Loaded up and ready to go. I'm really annoyed by buying games digitally. They're pretty expensive to get no resale value. I'm not really the type that plays games again. By the time I'm going to play them again, they probably have released a remaster. Good job. Now that's a real thing. I hope Breath of the Wild draws some inspiration from this and goes for maybe a slightly more intricate combat system. So when that fills up, what happens then? I'm all full? I'm all full of white goo? Can't do anything else? Gear updated. 6 steel, wow. Yeah, I'm just, I got into a pretty good rhythm of buying the physical game. if you beat it within a certain amount of time, you could return it for at least $50. You could take the time to try to sell it too, which I used to do a lot of, but I find gamers can be kind of a pain in the ass when it comes to meeting them up and selling games to them. A lot of the ones around here, they just tend to not drive, want you to deliver everything. They don't want to pay extra for delivery. Sort of an arrested development, you know, where you just want to tell them, like, hey, grow up. No, I want to play games.
病人を癒すためにある薬師が向かっているのですが、間に合うかどうか。
病人はどこだ？
野営にいる流民です。病に侵され、救いの手を待ちわびています。
もうこの手は筒まで伸びておる。街道も危ういはずだ。その薬師を守ってやらねば。
It's a little one. What does that mean if it's a little one? Babies? These are babies. Babies here? Fly babies? Gross. This is like the perfect game. This and Red Dead are the sit on your couch and get stoned games. Like lay down, almost laying down. Not quite laying down. A real good slouch. And you're smoking a lot of pot. You're just going, whoa. Cool. And you never get too confused. Follow the wind, man. Talk to the people it tells you to talk to, man. Press triangle when it says press it. Press R2. World of Final Fantasy.
本当にいるんですよ。なんだと？あの妖怪がなんと若島の集落に姿を見せたそうです。
Am I doing World of?
妖怪か人か調べてみるとしよう。
There are many maps. Well, there is only one map, but there are many rumors, many locations. This kind of looks like an area in The Witcher. Nice job, horse. Yeah, where you're not asked to make a lot of difficult decisions. You're doing great. Still CW for more Bartandalus. What does that mean? Still CW? Can't wait? Goodbye, Bartandalus. Ah, what a great battle that was. Apoptosis. The music's so good. You can really... That battle system, so... It's like, you can be really creative with it. For Final Fantasy 13. But, oh, what happens when it gets all the way full? What kind of variety does this game need? Maybe a bit more like story and stuff when you come across these things? That's probably what The Witcher and Red Dead would have, is that when you come across these encounters, it's not just murder them, it's more like interact with people. They have a story that tells you about the region. I guess that guy, like in the house, I did come across two people that told me that. Here we go. Duel in the Drowning Marsh. Nice looking area. I do like the attitude of them, sort of. The Mongols have invaded, so they're turning against each other. Different philosophies of how they should go about their business, you know? What's going to be best for the people. I mean, in history, when these countries were taken over, you could just try to fight forever, but eventually they would give up to, I don't know, save their people. Doesn't seem to happen now. You know, like when the United States invaded Vietnam, it was more of a... They just kept fighting until they left. You know? You can use his guiding things. So when triangle and circle, and I do that special one that he can't seem to block. Yeah, it overrides his red thing there too. Just keep whacking him. Just pound him. Looks really good. Come a little closer. Uh-oh. He's almost dead. These battles are quite easy. They're fun, they're cinematic, impactful. But I think they're just a little bit too short where you can kind of cheat your way through. But I could raise the difficulty. I wonder if when you go to that special difficulty of... What happened there? No experience for killing the traitor? Die in the mud, you fool. Getting a lot done. Ooh. I love the beat. Yeah, what any games you're playing right now, World of? Tsushima haiku. Yeah, it's a nice little jungly swamp area. They had a cool one of these in Red Dead 2 as well. Red Dead 2-2. Wearing the tutu. Moogie. Oh, look at these green roofs. What is this? Mongols? Mongols? Here? Everywhere. Who are you? Ah. Can't see a bloody thing. Dog. Bam! Hostages were killed. Oh, right. That's a good way to keep it interesting, keep it fresh. Have some hostages. You can't just run in there and whack people. Listen to the people. A message in fire. I mean, that's a good way to keep it interesting, is have it so you're sort of forced to play a certain way, or at least make different decisions. Damage enemies with explosive arrows, rescue hostages. Explosive arrows. Doesn't seem like that's gonna be... Is that gonna still keep me not seen? I like that. I like that I can just fire these in cause chaos, but it doesn't automatically set up an alarm, you know? Who is this guy looking at me? Really? Where? Oh, there he is. Uh-oh. That's two. Don't have any more arrows. No. Doom. I mean, they're all coming out here? That was cool. Uh-oh. Jesus. Too many. Man, that was a nice death animation. The way he sort of fell to the side and fell down. I liked it. Blindfolded. That'd be scary. Not knowing when the hit is gonna come. I guess after a while though, you'd be used to not knowing or not being able to see your death coming. Just kind of fall into it. And these little bonus things they have. Rescue the hostages, damage enemies with explosive arrow. It's kind of nice. It's like I didn't even think of using these arrows. Can I do two at once? I'm gonna find another explosive arrow. Alright, let's try to get far away from where we shot that off. Oh, good God, this game looks so good. Like a VR tourism mode would be really nice, but I don't know if you can easily just swap that over, right? if you have a game set up to be viewed like this regularly, put it into VR. I mean, I would assume the resolution would have to be a lot higher. Oh, what's that all about? Lightning? Get him. That's a good spot. That's a good hiding spot. What do I got to kill these guys? I got these like... Who's that? Smoke bombs. Oh, they're all over. Oh. Oh, nice. Ooh. These floodplains. Good for hiding. Reminds me of the intro to Call of Duty World at War. Guess we got this bow. Knock some people in the heads. Yes. Who was that? I don't know. Maybe from the trees. Maybe he hit himself. He's kind of stupid. I love those Japanese flutes. Roof hatch. Oh. Can I just save this guy so that I can see him? Is he gonna follow me around? I don't like when they follow me. I mean, he did say kudasai at the end, but he sounded a bit rude. The arrows are so handy. Oh. See, he never walks off. I guess they don't want you to fall to your doom, but there's a lot of times I really just want to walk off the edge, you know? Get myself to safety. Can you swim? Swim, swim, swim. Submerge, 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 submerge. He's not doing that. Oh, there he is. Like a frog. I think that straw hat would be pretty good for being stealthy. It's so flat, you know? Just like bend over and it obscures you. Obscures the whole body. Row. There's a guy up there. Be a good vantage point too. And probably some arrows. Oh, this guy looks very fancy. That is nice. Royal blue. His furry hat. No arrows? You don't have any extra arrows up here, you jerk? Oh my god, that was embarrassing. They're gonna blow their little horn. Chain assassinate? Chain assassinate? Chain assassinate? How about just... Oh, chain. Give me the chain. Give me the chain. Nope. Oh, there's some ammo. Bah. So this is a really interesting level. Because it's sort of flat. There's lots of things to hide behind and go under. But there's no hills. So they have long sight lines. For enemies in a stealth game. The music is nice. Very sort of magical and positive, shimmery. Like you're doing something quite impressive, but not over the top. There's no bubbles coming out. Yeah, maybe not. Don't scream out, help me. Oh, nice. He's got like one of those kind of artsy French hats backwards. Half bow upgrade. Might be time for that. Kind of got out of using the bow, but it's pretty fun. One more explosive arrow would be nice. Ooh, and I have 2. Hannah! It is a great game. It's a very strong, good to great game. Are you a Mongol? Yes. You been playing this one at all, Hannah? Or watching it? My sliding scale for this game was at first I was a bit wary of it. And then I really got into it, the combat and just, I mean, everything you get to see in this world. And then, yeah, it kind of like boosted me up almost to a 10. I was like, you know what, I think everything gelling together, I'm going to give it a 10 minus whatever a lock-on is worth. And now it's going to dip down a bit. If you don't, I'm not super into just collecting a lot of things. As I just collect 12 supplies there. Like there's a lot of fun and a lot of good execution and kind of an overall vibe. It does kind of dive into, I think it falls into the traps of sort of like a lot of open world collectathon type games. So it's it could have used a bit more variety, I think. But some, you just kind of have to know, I guess, when you're getting bored and you know, move forward in the story. Because in the end, you're going to end up with a lot of stuff like this, right? Which I'll have to say, you know, just when I'm thinking like, okay, how can they make the Mongol camps more interesting? They do. This is a totally different type of map than we've seen the entire game. So I've really been enjoying that. I think that it sort of limits itself by trying to be so realistic samurai-ish. Whereas, you know, there's no magic or fantasy elements. So you can't have any more fun with that. Oh crap. And you can't have any kind of like, you can't have any like cool gadgets or magic, fantastical monsters, that kind of stuff. But it's pretty forgiving with having to be stealthy. I think I would just keep in the mainland story going. Yeah. It's and there have been some times where I have really enjoyed the side stuff, but I think I'm better served if I stick with mostly main and then hit some side stuff on the way, or if you really feel like going back and hitting it. But yeah, for the most part, it's that main story that I want to find out what's going on, because the story is fairly simple, but what I find interesting about it is how the characters relate with each other. And I find like the banter between them is pretty well done. I've not played Mafia 3, 2, or Mafia 3 minus 2, which is 1. What do you think of it? Mafia series still worth going back and checking out? I know that it's like Remaster City for all that stuff. I don't even know what those games are all about, other than, you know, I'm assuming they're sort of open world cinematic missions. Kind of Grand Theft Auto inspired, but I'm trying to think, because like A lot of the Mafia games were from sort of the PS3 era, right? Xbox 360. So how they would do their open world stuff. They're still kind of learning all that. You can't shoot from here. Brrr. I've had a lot of recommendations about it. It seems like a lot of the people that are in our chat are pretty big fans of the series. You do recommend Mafia 3 if you stick with the main story and DLC stories. So, do you think that I should play 1 and 2 or just skip to 3? Where is everybody? It's always weird in these third-person games when all of a sudden you switch to the first person. It's helpful in that situation, but it makes you think, would the whole game be good? It's first person? Yeah, I'm generally not into a lot of sort of big open-world cinematic games, as I can get a bit of fatigue from them. But I don't really dig the Assassin's Creed games, although I haven't played a new one. I haven't played one since 2. And I couldn't finish 2. But I wouldn't mind popping into like Assassin's Creed Odyssey or something. Although it's quite expensive. I notice third-party games are like keeping their value a lot more. You just went right for 3 and you haven't really missed anything. I started with Mass Effect 2. And even though a lot of the beginning parts are sort of Shepard meeting up with Garrus and this kind of like, haha, you old son of a gun, long time no see. I still understood that they had this relationship before and made sense. And I was actually really happy to go back to 1. I think I like 1, 3, and then 2. Or maybe 3 was the best for me, 1. I think 2 is great the first time I played it. Going back to it again, I wasn't really all that big into it. Because I felt like everything was so fractured doing all the side stories. When I like more that overall story of 1 and 3, and kind of the vibe, the more like the slower vibe of 1, and the amazing combat of 3, and the amazing combat of 2. Being the Vanguard and warping in and smashing people in the face and then shooting them with shotguns and stuff. Oh crap. I'm gonna shoot you in the brain. Uh-oh. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Mafia 3. So is that one of the ones that got the remaster, or is that was released on this gen, right? Mafia 3? Is that the one where it takes place in like the 60s and there's a black protagonist? This guy's got no peripherals. Game is a story of Lincoln Clay. You get to see the experience of an investigator that explains his take on the events in these cutscenes after your progress. Okay. Lincoln Clay. It sounds like a black protagonist name, if I had to guess. So sort of like open world, crime drama, gunfights, driving cars around. With probably like a licensed soundtrack from the time period. And then maybe like a dramatic score for the story moments. Or do they go full Scorsese and still use the soundtrack for the dramatic story moments? Black Vietnam vet. Whoa. Surprised there haven't really been any. Can you think of a Vietnam game? I mean, Snake Eater, Metal Gear Solid 3 is sort of like that. guerrilla warfare in the communist forests. Russia's involved. But they're not really in Vietnam. I think they're in sort of like a made-up country. More James Bond than Vietnam. Oh yeah, so many supplies. What's this guy all about? Has any music at the time? It's well made. Cool. Who makes it? What other kind of games do they make? Is that like a... My guess is 2K? Sega 2K? Radio Commander from last year is about Vietnam War. Oh, nice. Ooh. So is that kind of like a strategy management game or something? Where you're radioing like helicopters and different things like that? I like those management games. There was a police one that I thought was going to be pretty neat and then didn't end up really coming through. This is the police or like Beat Cop or something. I think This is the Police was more of a strategy one with sort of like darker satire, I guess, about the state of corruption in the police force. Very timely. Huh? Who's that? Whoa! Let's hit that guy in the brain. There we go. Yeah. Oh, it's raining, so I killed him. It's a management simulator. Oh, nice. I like those sim games. They can be overwhelming sometimes, but if you're kind of in the right mind space for it. Key of Tsushima. 1 of 6 keys set to lead to Gosaku's armor. Cool. And that is that. That was a fun little area. And now it's back to normal. I love their mossy roofs. The high planks to keep them out of the water. Pretty nice. When I Was Young is a pixel art Vietnam War game from this year. Okay. Sounds kind of artsy. When I Was Young. Oh, my back. New ghost weapon. Sticky bomb. I want it to go longest unlock. Gotta use your bloody technique point for that. It's this long period where you don't get to control them. Who's that team? They did this War of Mine, and I think they did Frostpunk. They make these great, very creative management games. This War of Mine is Call of Duty Vietnam or Fog of War never came out. Yeah. Was that going to be sort of like a DLC spin-off for Call of Duty? Vietnam. Is there sort of like a multiplayer mode of that? Flamethrowers and stuff. Predator, in a way, is kind of like a Vietnam deal. American team in the woods. I think they have more power, but there's the guerrilla fighter that can use the forest against them. Jungle. Yeah, me neither. Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 1 is when I started paying attention. Modern Warfare 2 is the one that I really got into. And then, kind of by that point, I was sort of done with it. I had the thrill of sort of like getting good enough that you can be at the top of your leaderboard or whatever. And then realizing that, for me, if I didn't play it a lot, I would just get terrible. It was sort of like I had to constantly be practicing it to keep my skills up, which is not something I really want to do in a game. I like experiencing the games and having to develop some kind of skill for them, but not to the point where it's like you need to train, you know. Most Vietnam games came out pre-2010. Yeah, it does kind of seem like the zeitgeist of culture is sort of over that. They don't really... I don't know, maybe it was too glorified or sort of overdone. I think it'll make a comeback. Especially with, I think it's something you can make look really nice. You know, with 4K HDR. Jungles can be very vivid and very colorful, but they have a lot of moving parts, right? Like in a jungle, you got a lot of this kind of grass and leaves, foliage, animals. It's things that are hard to draw. But I think now you can, to the point where you could use it to make the next gen console seem quite impressive. Although it seems like a lot of the new games coming up for, say, the PS5 are right up my alley of like space and sci-fi, where that's like easier to do because you don't have to be realistic. You can have large open spaces of just black, and then you can make it kind of psychedelic and sci-fi and go by your own rules. And when you don't have to, because like, you know, we're humans, we know what grass looks like, so it's very difficult to make that look realistic, or it takes a lot of movement. I'm only assuming that because, you know, when you're trying to stream something, the bitrate you need to not have pixelation with all this like little bits of grass moving seems to be really difficult. And a game like The Witcher really struggled to be ported to the Nintendo Switch. I think it's because of all the little tiny details it has. Whereas Breath of the Wild avoided a lot of those tiny details. Kind of did it their own way. A lot flatter, a lot simpler. It still gets the point across. You still feel like you're looking at a lot of grass and a dense, beautiful forest. But it takes less power to do it.
Samurai? ならば御前に会われよ。麦谷の佐藤さだ。さあ、こちらへ。参りましょう。まず御前にご挨拶。
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah, you're not gonna have like Final Fantasy Vietnam War Edition. Especially because the Vietnam War was so... Americans didn't really look good in that, but they were trying to. It's kind of the last time they were really highly publicizing the war. No. It's all Predator hides for this guy? This guy's obsessed. Can I buy Predator hides off him? Yeah, it's just because anything that's trying to be really realistic with that dense grass detail is going to be tougher. Sword kits. These are just... It's all vanity stuff. Don't care. Weird. I dropped my PS4 controller and it's got this sort of bulge here now. And every once in a while the home button will just click. It's not good. Same guy. Yeah, I know who you are. Really beautiful villages, though. The Asian part of the world sees the Vietnam War as something bad. Well, America wants to keep the focus on keeping it a good look. Yeah. Seems like that was a real messy war. That was at the point where they thought, war, what is it good for? What's the point of this? Yeah? Here we go. Little
多くに
talkie-talkie.
知られておらぬようですな。
ありがたいことにね。ここでは争いなんて幾とせもご無沙汰。太刀を抜けばうちの者が黙っちゃいないよ。その掟を守りゃわけもなく切られることはないけどね。さてそれじゃあご用を伺おうじゃないか。
仲立ちの五郎を探しておる。
ゴロ
なるほどね。今頃下で酒をしこたま飲んでるはずだよ。仲良くしてやりな。
礼を言う。
また会いたいもんだね。あんたとは助け合えそうだ。
Okay. Yeah, I like the that's probably the most interesting part. I find that they write the characters pretty well with each other. They tend to have interesting viewpoints on how they want to treat the war, how they want to react to the war, the way that they interact with each other. I find pretty interesting. The merchant. I broke one PS4 controller, slamming it into the ground, and the L2 button doesn't pop back up.
そういうあんた
酒井と申す。
なに侍はみんな死んだろ
生きているか確かめるか。だがその前に聞くんだ。志村殿から借りを返せとことづかった。
志村様が何をしろって。
本土まで下踏を届けろ。
ああ、そいつは高くつきますよ。まして猛虎が海を封じてるんだ。
借りがあるのだろう。これで返せ。
やるしかねえってことか。菰田浜の戦で志村様と一緒に借りも消えたと思ったんだ。だから飲んでたんだよ。
祝い酒ということか。
弔い酒だ。俺らなんかを守るために大勢が死んだんだからな。だろ。
そう思うのなら覚悟を決めて戦いに手を貸せ。
だけど戦える侍がいないだろう。
加勢は得られる。お主が下踏を届ければな。
At a point where they had the CIA really involved in the war, really extensive interrogations and stuff. Oh yeah, I'm probably I'm sure there were just like horrifying things going on, you know, in the name of war. It just seems so ridiculous that we would ever need to do that, you know, kill humans, killing other humans for some kind of a greater good. Man, these villages look so cool. Looks like a Dark Souls type village.
俺んちはここだ。入りな。
Cages.
もうこの囲みはやすやすと抜けられねえだろうな。文はあんたが持ってるのか。
ご当人だ。赤島の海岸にいらっしゃる。
ああ、なんとかしてみるか。水戸岳砦の近くに船を隠してある。この地図に目印を書いた。そこで落ち合おう。
Oh, really? Oh, that's fantastic. How early do you get it?
ゴロ、開けろ。今日こそは金を返すまでこっから動かねえぞ。
まずい。
俺が出てやろう。お主は行け。
おお、そりゃ助かる。
浪人が何用だ。
これはなぜゴロの家なんかに。
なんだと。
いや、出直します。
誰か娘を知っていたら教えてくれ。誰か娘を見てないかい。グメどこだい。お侍様、お助けください。
どうした。
娘が何日も家に帰って
PS5 will
こな
probably
い
be
の
the
です。
first one I buy at launch
逃げたのではないか。
for quite a
そんな
while.
子なものですか。探
母もそなたのように
Oh, that's fantastic.
俺を守ろうと必死だったな。
この辛さわかるでしょ。
Will there be games out at the time, or what can you really do with it?
私が先に帰ってあの子も戻るはずが。
Because you can just like test out the backwards compatibility and stuff? Or do they have things online, or is it sort of like a... You can do like unboxing or tech review and that kind of stuff?
クメを見た者がおるはずだ。
Okay. I kind of find this part of the game a bit boring. It's constantly beautiful to look at. It's interesting to see the villages and stuff. Combat's pretty decent. But it's a bit ho-hum where I find the traversal's not really all that interesting. You know, like going through the world and stuff. I'm so obsessed with it being a big open world, but it's just not You know, it's not like Breath of the Wild where you're flying everywhere and climbing and finding a lot of interesting things along the way. Even I've kind of found Red Dead boring for that reason too. What? Sure.
政子殿、いつからいらっしゃるのです？
何、来たばかりだ。
お休みください。
休んでおる暇があるなら犯人探しを続けたい。ここで大村という男を捕らえれば一歩進めるのだ。
形状に名が乗っておりましたな。
一族を殺した連中にブーを流しおった。
ではそやつを捕らえ口を割らせましょう。
The horse is fine. It's got like a decent speed. There's one annoying thing I find, like when you're running straight, when you call the horse, I do like that he appears, but when you turn to sort of get on him, he sort of walks away from you. It's not like super fluid. The horse is fine. Apparently you can do some cool stuff like run around and jump off the horse and execute people. Well, Red Dead, you build a relationship with the horse too, because they can die. You level them up and you take care of them and all that kind of stuff. That's pretty interesting.
もう20年も会っておらぬ。
面識を？
館に出入りしていたが、盗みを働いてな。報酬が足りなかったからとケチまでつけおった。
なるほど。
無論嘘だ。今は黙って道を見張れ。しばらくここで過ごす
Yeah,
や
Red
も
Dead's
し
horse
れ
felt
ぬぞ。
pretty great. I've like a lot of memories of Red Dead's horse. And you could set it so you could just let the horse kind of guide you too, right? So you
昔
can
の
kind of take
姿
it
の
in.
ままだ。20年前と変わっておらぬではないか。
息子らでしょう。
奴らも組みしておるか。
Whereas this one, you have to control your horse the whole time, but it's not really all that fun. The horse isn't doing anything interesting other than going faster. And a lot of times you can kind of get to a point where the horse can now not get up higher or go down lower.
別れおった。
後をつけ様子を見ましょう。
So I think the horse is generally pretty inoffensive.
谷の道は狭い。上から後をつけると良いぞ。
Use the same horse the whole time? Nice. You know, what happened to me and what seems to happen to a lot of people is you put your horse near train tracks and then all of a sudden train comes by and boom, you're dead. Cool. I just used this awesome fly swatting gun. Pew, pew, pew. Worked really well. Trail the brother. I like the trailing missions. It incorporates the stealth aspect while making you look at the screen to see what's happening.
父上、家族の仇は討ったぞ。足立のじじいもその一族もこの世から消えた。はっ、吉平は気に入らんようだが、あいつは足立家の仕打ちは何も覚えちゃいないからな。もうすぐ大金が手に入るんだ。奴らに奪われた金の1000倍以上だぞ。
Yeah, exactly. You know, and in a way, even though I was sad the horse died, I like that. I put the horse near train tracks, and like you say, if you care about something, don't put it near train tracks. So that train's gonna do some damage. It's a weird thing in this game. He doesn't go off until you put the camera like this. Then he walks down. You have to jump. I just want to rotate the camera on 180. It is beautiful. PETA? Ooh, I mean, PETA can sometimes be pretty over the top.
昔の話をいつまで引きずるんだ。立ち去らなければ人を呼ぶぞ。もういい、いらねえよ。
You ever had a pickle dig? It's nice in a bar at night.
ここは海だぞ。
Yeah, the lighting is a big thing with the fog, with everything. See, it'd be nice to like easily be able to grapple hook your way up. What like that? This guy doesn't really look back all that much. I think people like pickled eggs in bars because it gives their breath a heavy vinegar egg smell instead of smelling like booze. In case they get stopped by the police. Breathe into my face. Breathe into my face.
こっちだ。
兄の方は犯人です。襲撃に関わっておるようでした。
ならば泥を吐かせるまで。
これから雇い主に会うようです。
館の襲撃を命じたものかもな。
兄弟の会話を盗み聞きましょう。
行くぞ。
What's this guy all about?
検事、何をしておる？
Man, I love the way she has her arrows in her back. I was thinking about getting a like HDR 4K gaming monitor. Right now I'm playing in like a big, I don't know, 48-inch TV. But I think just like a little monitor would be better. Sit close to it.
金が手に入ればこの島から逃げられるんだぞ。家族を連れて平和な本土へ行け。早く済ませよ。
どこへ行く？
追いましょう。
鏡。
I found a pretty good buyer's guide. It seems like you got to spend between $300 and $500. $300 and $500 to get a good one. I assume getting a gaming monitor would be better than a little gaming TV because of the refresh. Right? You know, latency and all that.
腹渡を引き抜いてやる。
抑えて。
This looks like Resident Evil 4. Yeah. I just noticed one of my friends who generally tends to have a couple beers before he hits the road at the end of the bar night. He would tend to have them. And he would smoke. And he had like, his truck kind of had a, smelled like oil or gas. It's like, it's all part of the plan. Alright. Please don't run anyone over. Jeronique! Luca, Luca, Luca. Uh-oh. Things are going down.
罠に飛び込む気か。
お待ちを。見届けましょう。
This part looks like Death Stranding. Man, that grass is nice looking.
お待たせして申し訳ない。どっちが大村か答えろ。なあ、俺ですよ。それで金はここにある。
Yeah, what are you playing on? Use a TV or a gaming monitor? Anything like that? The banditos. I've used this TV for a while. It's great. I mean, it's not 4K or HDR, but it's nice, big, good picture, 1080. Used it for gaming for the last few years. But now that so many things are HDR and 4K, it's nice to upgrade. Seems like some of the smaller size ones, they don't bother with the 4K. Maybe it's just because if they're small, you can't tell. You have the BenQ EX3 23R, 32-inch curved ultra-wide HDR.
私は賊のムクロを調べてみます。
Well, I find too, like when I'm playing the PS4 Pro games, I'll tend to pick the. Generally you have two choices. It's like, do you want 4K, or do you want to have improved frame rates? And I usually go for the better frame rate. I mean, I'm looking at this in 1080. It still looks fantastic. And I've seen the stream in 720, and like, you can't hide the good graphics, right? I find that frame rate is always going to be annoying if it drops, but good graphics you become desensitized to. Loot the bandits. Just saw a great meme. Back then people were so baroque. They were looting in the streets, and it's a picture of a Renaissance guy with a lute. Pretty cool. Yeah, I might try a set of a monitor upgrade. Then I can keep my monitor closer to my computer stuff too, rather than having a. It's always kind of a pain of like, where am I going to put my TV, so I can still stream and do all that stuff. You do have a QLED 8K TV, and you find there's not much 4K and 8K content yet. Yeah, I mean, how many times can you watch like BBC Earth? That kind of stuff. And everything's kind of been on hold. Been on like a hold anyway, with new stuff coming out. It definitely, I felt like if I had one, I would just be obsessed with like, okay, what's every new AAA game coming out? Which ones are in 4K? Which ones are in HDR? I mean, it's pretty amazing what the Xbox One X is doing, where it's... I mean, they're like remastering old games, 360 games, and putting them in like some type of weird 4K deal. What's the deal here? I gotta loot the right bandit. Well, there's a lot of dead bodies around. It's already a lot of 4K. Yeah. Really want to see all the makeup on their face and other things. That's how I was when I was first getting like you know, those like Google Cardboard VR things for my phone. That was a fun little phase. I find it became too much of a hassle though, but it was fun. And like I messed around with a few of those. You are to meet a man named Omura in Umugi Cove. He means to blackmail me. Kill him. I'm moving funds from Kushi. Oh.
これは宿で見つけた形状と同じ家紋だぞ。
No need for threats. I'll gladly bring payment to Umugi in exchange for your silence. Huh.
罠でしたな。襲撃の黒幕が大村の口を封じたのでしょう。
正体を隠すは小物がすること。
文を読むに金に困っておった様子です。
裕福な僧侶ではないのだ。
僧侶ですらないか。
つまり黒幕は武士ではないというのか。
家を起こそうと企てておるのやも。
金などのために足立家を襲ったということか。かような謀略を企む者は数が知れておる。ならばこちらは調べる相手を絞る。
まずはお休みを。このままではお体が。
この手で黒幕を葬るまでは休んでなどおれぬ。
Well, if you're too tired when you find the guy, you're not going to be much good,
一
are you?
族を殺した犯人の一人はクバラにおる。折を見て来てくれ。
So the Valve Index, what's that? So that's a VR headset? Is it a standalone? Or how exactly does that work? Yeah, I think that's the main thing with the VR is that it's fun to mess with, but then there's not a lot to kind of keep people there, or there's not sort of the go-to thing of like, you gotta get this so you can play the new Half-Life game or several games, you know. The 8K TV does replace the fireplace. Looks better than a real fire. I hooked up my like vintage stereo. It started smoking. I had hooked the wires up wrong, but it still made like it still sounded good. I didn't realize that it could still sound awesome, and then smoke comes out. Just turn it off. It still works fine.
アキュードの娘か。ああ知ってるよ。でも何日も見てないな。
心当たりは。
悪いが知らないね。
お手伝いできることは？
So you're like do you have like a tech channel or something? Is that your deal? I know you said something about you have some kind of company, but I didn't know what you had done. I assumed you were just like I don't know, into tech or game streaming or that kind of stuff. If it's too personal, don't do it. I would like. This guy's obsessed with hides. Valve Index needs to be connected to a PC, but you never had any pain using it. I'd like a standalone VR. It's kind of wireless in a way. Cool. I would like to try the PSVR because apparently you can just wear it and you can like play a normal game with it on. Or watch movies and stuff.
男、鶏、何でも揃ってる。銭を払ってクメと呼べばいいじゃないか。
知れ者め。
金、材木、布を扱います。
Bang dong dong dong.
クメという娘を探しておる。
そんな女知らないし。
Oh, okay.
知りたくもない。
Cool.
どっかに行け。
I'm a musician. I sing and play guitar, do a lot of looping and effects and stuff. I have a music stream on my Matthew Falvite channel tonight at 7:30, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. What kind of music do you do DJing for?
役立つものばかりです。
もし、お侍、こちらへ。その
I'm
娘
finding this story pretty boring.
誠か。
はい。ですがここではついてきて。
Sounds like you're living the guy's dream, man. The gamer's dream, anyway. All that tech and being able to use it. It's the funnest thing.
やはり何か裏がありましたか。
そのようだ。幾日も戻っておらぬらしい。
ここでならお話できます。
Yeah, no one will hear us in here.
クメとは馴染みで、最後に見たのは仕事の仲立ちと出て行った姿です。
仕事とは何だ。
宿の下女です。母親のために金を稼ぎたいとか、固く口止めさせられていたのですが。
宿はどこだ。
街道の先の沼中です。
Oh, okay. what I like about the electronic music scene is that they're the only ones pushing the visual aspect of live music performance. You know, in these festivals where they're building these ridiculous, in a good way, big structures and like pyramids and holographic displays, 3D stuff, lasers. That's what people need. And it's kind of like the future of live performance.
修羅に殺されてしまいます。何を言っておる。修羅などおらぬぞ。おるのです。その名は小次郎、不死身の男です。
No, I don't want to do those. Can't wait for Breath of the Wild 2 to come out. I do a lot of solo shows with sort of the looping, and I can get bass frequencies and some like interesting effects. But I'd like to, and I have a Roland TR8 drum machine that has the 909, 808, 707 sounds on it. Yeah, I'll check it out. Tomorrowland around the world. Yeah. But I'd like to incorporate more of maybe like some kind of a visual aspect, you know, where you have the incoming audio changing some kind of parameters, and then also just that deep bass. Bass just makes people feel good. I mean, that's the best thing about going to a music festival for me is when you hear that kick drum. Search for the inn. Hey, guy.
Kenji, 何をしておる？
堺様、祈りが通じました。
どうせまた揉め事であろう。申し開いてみろ。
実は俗に金を借りたんです。
to a bandit. I like doing the looping because I miss playing with bands, and I love harmonies. I love playing all kinds of instruments. I'll play bass in some bands. I like percussion, so that allows me to keep it pretty interesting.
酒と薬をちょこっとだけ高く売って、その金で伊豆原から人を逃がしただけなんですけどね。
The characters are written pretty funny in this game.
人助けはせめんがやり方を変えろ。
足は本当にバカだ。
What's your DJ name?
俺に尻拭いをしろということか？
もしゴンが襲いかかってきた時のために見張っててくれるだけでいいんです。下手に出てきてもらっちゃ足が恨まれちゃいますから。
お前も考えたようだな。こたびは手を貸そう。
ありがたや。
Cool. DEFCON. My friends go to one called Shambhala on the West Coast. They love it. They're obsessed with it. They have to go every year. And the glow they have when they come back from it, it's just pretty impressive. Lovra. Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out after. Thanks for sharing. Alright, what are we finding this thing? Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that, like, I'm really into rock and sort of alternative. I'm a big I love Radiohead and Muse and stuff. But I find, that rock needs to... Look how the horse is coming at me and just going its own way. Rock needs to catch up to what EDM is doing with those festivals. They need to incorporate more in their shows. And big bands do. Like Muse and Radiohead are always pushing the limit on that, but smaller bands too, I think, need to come up with something more. You enjoy most types except K-pop? Yeah, I'd say that if it's done really well, I like it. If it's done, I mean, I'm a bit of a music snob, so if it's gonna be, I mean, when I think of like a lot of the stuff on the radio is generally, it's not really for musicians and producers to enjoy. Sometimes there are some like great tracks that do manage to hit on the mainstream, but a lot of the time it's sort of there to it's just, it needs to be simpler to appeal to a lot of people. So that kind of stuff I'm not a big fan of. K-pop I don't really know a lot of. I listen to a lot of video game music. We do a video game show each Wednesday. We have people on our Discord. We pick a theme like NES, Genesis, or Mario, or Donkey Kong, or something, and everyone shares their top songs. It's pretty fun. We listen to them and then sort of break it down, discuss what we like about it. Well, you give me some great recommendations today. Oh, trying to fake me out. What do you got? I mean, these scenes look like Stone Studs. Power of good VFX and production with effects. Oh yeah, totally. Look at this game, it's like still forcing me to play the way it wants me to play. The way it wants, yeah. Maybe I know that. I'm using these new ones. Yeah, I get it. Stagger swordsman, I want it. Well, I mean, you're already sitting there staring at it, so it'll like bring that connection in. They can heighten each other big time. You enjoy the mainstream music, but you can be very critical. I find a lot of it is just sort of like they'll take 4 chords and it's kind of, to me, it just starts sounding like a nursery rhyme. My friend is a guitar teacher and the kids come in and they ask to learn like an Imagine Dragons song. And he shows them the 4 chords and then they go, then what? He's like, that's it. That's the whole song. Play a little louder here. Play a little quieter here. Did you hear the new Billie Eilish? I'm a big Billie Eilish fan, and the new song is sort of like... It's called My Future, so I thought, oh, it's going to be pretty political maybe, because she's been... Her social media's been very vocal about social rights movement, Black Lives Matter, all that kind of stuff. So I thought it was going to be something about that, but no, it's actually really more just about her. It's about... the same chords do work, that's true. But it's just kind of mind-numbing. I've always been, like, you know that kind of like 70s vibe music of, say, like a Van Morrison song where it's going to be... Yes. Where, say, it's going to be like 3 chords and a good groove. It just builds and builds and builds. I'm more into sort of like the Beatles. A lot more melodic movement as opposed to like chilling on a groove. Yeah, it just came out. It's called My Future. It sort of starts off as like a slow, sort of, almost like a jazz piece, like a jazz ballad, and then it kicks in with this really fun, kind of summery dance groove. And then it's over. Nice and short. I find the music her and her brother make, and her brother really does not get enough credit for the incredible production he does. It's so... I just love listening to their songs on good speakers and headphones because there's so many little interesting pieces that come in, kind of sound effects and stuff that you just wouldn't get if you were a band kind of jamming it out. But it's, I mean, oh, her voice is just getting so mature now that she's, what, 18? I probably listened to that song like 4 times today. Heard it a couple times, then tried it on my speakers, tried it on my headphones. My girlfriend's teaching a summer camp right now, so I was letting her sort of have a little break, and I was played the song for the kids. But it's kind of the difference of like when the Beatles came out, and they, because I played on a cruise ship, and you would have people that they like the band because they just want you to they want you to play dance music. They want you to play swing beat or a bolero or cha-cha rumba for 3 minutes and then stop. They don't do solos, don't do tempo changes, don't do anything else. And one of the group was really vocal about how they hated the Beatles because you can't really, there's not a lot of Beatles songs you can dance to. You can the earlier stuff that's sort of swing, but a lot of it has these like weird stops, pauses, rhythm changes and stuff. So I find that she's kind of in that vibe of not worrying about something only being dancey for a little bit and then changing, and it's about sitting down and listening to it, you know. Which when I grew up listening to the Beatles, I was so interested in their music that when I try to listen to something like the Rolling Stones, I would think, what's going on here? This is so boring to just listen to. But I realized that some music is for putting on your headphones and just studying and enjoying or singing along to, and others is for dancing, and other music is like for just like a road trip or like a party where you're not really listening to it, but it adds to the vibe. You're really interested in new future rave that David Guetta is making. It's like dirty, simple kicks and deep melodics. Really? New future rave. You know, I never would have checked that out. Another recommendation. Man, each time you come and chat with me, you're gonna have to make like a playlist of all this. Here's all the material that we covered. Here's your listening homework. I like the crowd on D-Live. They tend to be. I think because D-Live is like a pure gaming platform, but it's also the alternative one. So like Twitch is pure gaming, but I find people can be, I don't know, they can be a bit more immature there, and a bit more demanding and stuff, and a bit more, they're twitchy. They're sort of like in your face. YouTube is sort of such a mix. And can be for like even older people that are chill. And then D-Live is sort of still pretty chill. I've had some horrible spoilers on D-Live actually. When we were playing Last of Us Part 2. But yeah, it's off the beaten path, so you kind of get people that are into maybe looking for the new thing that is not the ultra popular one. Generally a good mentality to have. That works well with my line of thinking. New future rave. New future rave. New future rave. I like D-Live because you don't get followed around like you have on Twitch on YouTube. Don't get followed around. What, like stalkers or something? D-Live's sort of like a more incognito place in a way. Wind chimes. Do you want some linen? Yes, I'll take some linen. Ah! I was so ready. Whoa. Oh god, really? Yeah. But I've never had that before. I mean, I've had people that for sort of like live music, you know, people that feel like they need to be around you a lot and try to take all your time after the show and kind of annoy you with a lot of them talking. But I haven't had that online. Oh, cool. Yeah, it seems like their staff is quite involved. That's fantastic. Yeah. Whoa. I think that they should have more of a... There should be more accountability with people's usernames and what people are saying. I live in Canada, and on the CBC website, if you want to leave a comment, you have to have your name registered. It can't just be like Superbutt42 going on there just like verbally assaulting people. I mean, Facebook is like that, where this is your account, people see pictures of you and your life and your loved ones. Still doesn't stop people from being like kind of racist maniacs, but they tend to believe that they're right with what they're doing, so they don't mind that their name's attached to it, but at least gives you there's an accountability there. But yeah, I find like the D-Lev staff will pop into this stream every once in a while, and they just kind of give you an update on what's going on. They have their They have their like Thursday meetings and stuff. You get some outspoken stalkers that act like they're your best friends and know everything about you. That is very creepy. And I think, the internet. I mean, there's always been stalkers throughout sort of. I don't know if like Beethoven and Mozart had stalkers. People are probably just more concerned about staying alive back then. But like, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. They've always been there. And I think it's... The internet is a funny mix of... You're this elevated person that they have access to if they want to look at things of you on the internet. But they also can get, if you're on Twitch or streaming or something, there's a more personal connection as opposed to just seeing somebody in TV and movies, I mean, I've seen hours of, say, like Brad Pitt acting, but I've never seen him in real life. Probably never will, and I'll probably never have any kind of an interaction with him that's like this. Where you're going to ask something directly and he might respond. So I could see how the internet side of things could be even more intense. And also this idea of kind of like I notice when I'm doing my music stream, people on Facebook are pretty chill and very polite. They chat with me on there like they're talking to me in real life. YouTube is a little similar to that. Yeah. They tend to be either younger people or older. And they can be generally polite or hit or miss. Twitch, again, it's like half of them can be super polite, and then the other half can be just so different from anyone on Facebook, where it's very demanding, where they kind of talk to you almost like you're not a human, like you're a robot. So they just go, play this, no please, no conversation, do this. Well, I get a lot of people like trying to tell me to take this filter off. Don't be black and white. Don't like it. It's like they just brought up a setting on their TV and they want to change it. Because if you spend a lot of time on the internet on a computer, you basically spend your whole time choosing your reality. I want to listen to jazz right now while watching people play cricket. Oh, look at these birds. And people can constantly put in whatever they want. I mean, you could type into Google Justin Bieber sucks, and you could just read opinions and videos and discuss with people and have that belief affirmed. Or you could type in Justin Bieber's awesome, I love him, and then you could have that opposite thing. And it's very so it's like a virtual reality in a way. So people get used to not having the thing of real life where things don't always go your way. You know, if you're talking to your mom or your dad, there's going to be love there, and there's going to be some frustration because, you know, because they're not robots, they're not AI creations, they're not there purely for your happiness. I mean, they were when you were a baby, but eventually they're not. Well, thank you. I started putting it on like last year, and then I went back to color. And then when I was playing this game, I was playing in the Kurosawa mode, which for some reason makes the... I mean, I know why they make the audio different, but some of it looks better in the black and white. Private Instagram and a public one. Some parts in your life you don't want to show. Oh, yeah, for sure. And sometimes you just want to go on the internet and be silly, right? And if you have like a public one that a lot of people have access to, I suppose being just silly and authentic is what people are after. But there's some stuff like if I just want to try to be funny, I just want like my closest friends to see it. Me being a goof. Me pretending to be Han Solo while my dog is Chewbacca in the car. I don't need everybody to see that and be like, huh? What? What is this? Or if the people are going to think something I'm doing is offensive or whatever. I know, Kuma.
何をやらされた？
人を騙しました。道端で助けを求めながら誰か来るのを待って多くが立ち止まり助けてくれる人もいました。
もう終わった。家まで送ろう。
Yeah, I just like the black and white style. And I think it's kind of it's almost like... Whoa! It's almost like a jump scare. It's kind of a, it's a stylistic choice in a way that something that, yeah, I'm an older guy, I'm like 36 now, I want to say. And I think it's something that older people understand more, or maybe people who are more into like the arts and things being a bit different. Just like a slight change that lets you know. It's kind of like when people dye their hair purple or something. And it is kind of, you know, it's an expression of yourself, and you're saying, I'm into the alternative. And it's almost, you see someone with purple hair, you're gonna go, I bet you they support transgender rights, LGBTQ, question mark, all that stuff, right? It's also the good thing about the D Live. Here, there are not hundreds of thousands of streams. Yeah. It feels like this kind of small community where it's been more than once that the D Live team has just sort of popped in and they hang out. They have some interesting info. Makes me want to support them more. I gotta figure out a way to get all those lemons and stuff on the screen. I played the first few hours of this game with the black and white on, and I really, really liked it. I found the color sort of, at first really jarring, because it wasn't what I imagined the game was going to look like. Oh, look at that. You get people be mad at you because you're German, and they say that makes me a Nazi. Oh my god. I mean, every single country is... Beta, please. Steph hangs out in everyone's stream. I want to make sure everyone has a good experience. Yeah, they do a great job of that. I really feel that. I mean, every country's had their dark moments. But where you're born, Your DNA, that stuff, that has nothing to do with what you are. I kind of get that. Like, I'm from right now I live in a smaller village, and people are big on sort of like, what family are you from? And I really don't care about any of that stuff. Obviously, because I don't have a lot of family here. I have no family here. And, I mean, you can be from a great family and you can be a jerk, or you can be from a terrible family and you can be a great person. Kuma. I dated a German girl and asked her, like, what they teach you about history?
女、男、鶏、何でも揃ってる。銭を払ってクメと呼べばいいじゃないか。資源米が。
This guy's a real jerk. Yeah, I was asking him, like, what do they teach you when it comes to, 1939 to 1944? She's like, I do not care about this. Carinos are here. She would call me, your whole brand is on love and happiness. Oh, that's a Nazi. We got a Nazi over here. Oh, love and happiness? Wonderful. That's great. Like the music. Like the love. Like the happiness. Great. Wait. German? German love and happiness? Nazi. Nazi around here.
何かお礼をさせてください。
礼には及ばぬ。だがなぜここが？
つけました。浪人と話すのを見て、その後、私も話を聞いてみたのです。
勇ましいな。相手が浪人で怖くはなかったか？
我が子を失うことに比べれば怖いものなんて。
もう一生母さんに会えないかと思った。
Mother and daughter, more like sisters. Am I right? No, she is my daughter. I know. Be on your way. They taught you about pre-war, what went wrong. They amplified the Jewish voices and the horrors they experienced. My girlfriend is from Bavaria. I think she's from Munich or something. Ooh. Actually, my family is originally from Germany. They're called Schwabs. They're these Hungarians that were from Germany. And our last name was Schiller. And then the Russians invaded Hungary and they made them change it. Your last name is too German, yeah? You change, yeah? Da, change or we kill you. Well, I mean, it's something that is, people are never going to forget, but it's all about the lesson, is how that can happen. And it's not like one day Hitler asked everyone for a vote and like, okay, who wants to burn Jewish people? Like, these people probably had no idea what was going on. It's a slow, gradual process. And it just shows you how morally twisted things can get when it's over time and you're being manipulated. It's kind of like, okay, we all have these smartphones. There are people that are being exploited around the world in order for us to have affordable smartphones. Kids and families working in mines to make the batteries and the data chips for your smartphone. Now, if you had to watch them go to work every day and suffer and not get paid fairly for what they were doing, you probably would not want it. If every time you turned on your phone, you had to see that as your wallpaper. But you just kind of become implicit with it, where it's just a part of your culture, Or like wearing clothes that are made in sweatshops. People know it's happening, but they don't want to pay $150 for a shirt. They want to pay $20 for a shirt that's probably going to fall apart anyway. What is this? Hijiki in sunlight. What hidden threats lie beneath the calm golden surface? Yeah, and I mean, it's... After World War I, they just... Hitler just kept going and going and going, and the UN... Just let him do it. Let him keep going. Let him keep pushing. I think for the most part, everybody's just trying to do their best. I think even people that do things that are considered like evil or bad, they weren't born trying to do that. It's just kind of the circumstances of life and the pressures of it put you in these different situations. Or you become hurt and you sort of lash out. I was thinking people like that on a much smaller scale, like the kind of people that go around to different streams and do spoilers. What are they gaining out of it? I think that they want a bit of power. They want the power to type in something and see someone's face change and be upset and know that they had the ability to do that. You know. Maybe in their life they felt like they don't have power, or people have bullied them. Don't really want to defeat these Mongols. Maybe kill an enemy investigating a wind chime. Okay. Let's do it. You there, investigate the wind chime. Yasambe. You too. Does that guy wear a helmet? Tend to be very thoughtful to close your eye, but that's because you can afford a $90 shirt. Yeah. My girlfriend's the same way. She likes to buy stuff from... She would prefer to... Everything be so like super high quality. Clothes that last a long time. Clothes that I'm terrified to put into the dryer. And I can't really tell their clothes apart. They all just kind of look like weird loopy rags with holes in them. So, I don't know, is this a dress? Are these pants? Is this a shirt? So I just hang everything. She goes, no, you can put these and these and these in the dryer and hang the rest. God, I'll just hang it all. It's fine. But I'm pretty lucky. She used to be a personal shopper, so she buys all my clothes. I don't have to think about it. I like the style. It's great. She enjoys it. I handle the electronics. I'm like, here's a phone charger. Use this. Use this one. It has 4 ports. You can charge all your stuff. Yeah. We all have our strengths. You know, I never had really thought about like spending a lot of money on clothes, and then I went to this clothing store where it was sort of like clothing store for rock stars. Was the whole deal. Like cool leather jackets, shirts, like really great cuts, and everything was super expensive. You know, like shirts were $450. Everything else was $1,500, $2,000. I thought, okay, I see why people would spend more or crazy amounts on clothing, because if it speaks to you, I totally get this. Marshall. Even the people who do terrible things like Hitler believe they were doing good, otherwise they don't have the motivation to conquer Europe. Oh yeah, exactly. He thought that he was, well, for one thing, he wanted to get more power. He probably thought he was doing good for Germany. I mean, he did actually... Germany at one point was... I mean, they had to pay so many, like reparations for World War I, I think? So he probably thought he was giving his people a better life, and just kind of got lost in that quest. I'm sure he didn't start off thinking he was going to do that. Oh man, Hitler apologists. I didn't think we'd be getting into that, but I think every person is like that. It's like with like the whole cops and like the Black Lives Matter thing. These police don't get into it thinking, I hate black people, I'm gonna kill them. I mean, maybe some do, but I'd say the general the majority of them are like, no, I want to help people. This looks like a great job. And then it's a shoot. It just becomes corrupt because they're probably like overworked. They're frustrated. They're not able to do the job they wanted to do. Chopping me to pieces. And then they probably end up really angry against these ghettos and stuff that they're going into, and the gangs they're dealing with, and people not treating them with respect. And, you know, you can see why they change their minds, right? And then it becomes like a group think where, you know, I've read some stories of cops that sign up and, you know, part of your training, you're like taking on these ride-alongs, and they're showing you like, hey, let's go mess with these homeless people, these gangs. We'll just like try like playing a game of like, what's the most obscure ticket we can do, kind of bully them. And I think it's because they probably feel like they're lacking a bit of power, or they're overworked or whatever, or threatened, so they want to get that power back. It's kind of like the endless cycle of bullying. Choppy, choppy, choppy. You have so many outfits. That's the thing I'm not good at, is putting them together as outfits. I can find like jackets I like and pants and shirts, but putting them all together is the tough thing. You did make the German economy boom in the middle of the war. Yeah, so probably it's like, it's better. My people have food. They have money. We're doing well. We've got this nice chunk of Poland over here. Let's keep it going. I mean, you would probably get a bit of a god complex if you are literally looking at a map and you're watching your country grow. You're probably thinking, this is going well. And it's so crazy when you think back at how much Germany and England accomplished in that war and in previous wars and empires, and they're just tiny little countries. In fact, in the USA, 50% of all crime comes from 9%. Well, I think what's happening is black people are pushed into moon stance, effective against brutes. Heavy attacks deal extra damage. Okay. Are pushed into these like poor neighborhoods, and in these poor neighborhoods, crime becomes a way to survive. Is that guy a brute? Are you a brute? Bah. What can we do here? Yeah, and I think the cops are like super undertrained. You can see like when there's these videos of these guys like getting into physical confrontation, they don't look like they have it all under control. They look worried. They're sort of like stumbling. If they encounter resistance, they're like kind of fumbling over each other, and they're panicking. Now they're just trying to survive. But if you don't have the proper skills, you're putting yourself in huge danger, and it's just going to endanger the people you're trying to subdue. I mean, the amount of their job that they spend training and sort of hand-to-hand and dispersing people. Just kill this guy. Pretty dark out here. Yeah, exactly. Cops getting shootouts. I mean, that's a traumatic thing. Kind of, if you're walking around in a dangerous neighborhood and you're thinking like, any of these people could have a hidden weapon on them, keep killing me. Every time I answer a call, I could die. And also, you're not really getting any positive feedback, you know? Everybody you stop is worried you're going to make their life worse by giving them a ticket or a fine or putting them into jail or killing them, right? So it's, yeah, it's just not a good situation. It's not going to create It's not going to create a positive relationship with the cops and the people that they are investigating. So there's something they definitely need to rework. Have the cops in charge of less things and have them way more trained. Yeah. The camera in this game is not great. This big axe boy. You served and you still feel like you need to take an aggressive stand in conflict because that's what you were trained for. Sure, I mean that's something you get like becomes a part of you and becomes a part of your actions. And it's kind of like when you put people in jail too. It's they're now in this really aggressive situation of survival, and they're going to. You can't expect people to go into jail and rehab and become better because you've put them in a really scary situation where they need to survive. They can't show weakness. Like I've always said, if you have a dog that's aggressive and you put that dog in a dog jail in a little cell with other aggressive dogs, do you think that dog is going to become less aggressive or more aggressive, right? Leonard! How are you doing? Blam, 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 blam. The brute. I feel like I kind of grew up like fighting with my brother a lot, and my dad, we would sort of like spar and stuff, and I still feel that even now, 36, when my father-in-law is walking by, I can like almost anticipate he's gonna reach out and maybe smack me. I know he's not gonna do that, but I'm aware of it. Yeah, I'm aware of it and expecting it. Getting ready to dodge it or something. And there's nothing to worry about. What the hell is that guy doing? Nice. Is that a trampoline? That was awesome. You have punched people that came close and very lucky not to get arrested. Leonard and Daryl. Leonard, do you think maybe you might have like be on the spectrum of maybe like bipolar? Perhaps? Do you experience high highs and low lows? Manic highs? Are you in an incredibly good mood? A lot of energy? That guy was bouncing. Yeah, I mean the laws around like assault are so crazy. It's pretty unpredictable what's going to happen, you know. Somebody can be intimidating you and putting you in perceived danger, and you could attack them. And if you really know what you're doing, it'll become a big problem. Alright, Hannah. Bye. Great talking to you. Thanks for all the recommendations. Always enjoy it. Bow show! Bow show! Yeah. A lot of horses. I found this part of the story pretty boring, not so far. It's been pretty run-of-the-mill. But luckily I'd had it to keep me company. Oh. I mean, it's nice to look at, but hard to stay engaged with. Really improves near the end of Act 2. A lot of Act 3 is really great, especially the end. I was gonna say, yeah, I heard that on Discord and I realized you wrote that. Hey! You dog! Dong, 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 dong. I finished Banner Saga yesterday. What an amazing game. The end of Banner Saga just blew me away. I think what I'm going to do is, it seems like there's a choice you can make at the end of Banner Saga that really influences what happens, and I think I'm just going to get the rest of the Banner Saga on a different console, and then if I don't have save data to import, you probably have to just make the decision so I can kind of tweak my result. Very interested to try Banner Saga 2. I'm going to try not to buy any more digital games. Last of Us Part 2, this one, Final Fantasy VII Remake. These are games I could have gotten $150 back in trade value. That would have been nice. Makes playing the game a lot cheaper. I've never seen myself playing this again. Dance of Wrath. Moderate indication of bipolar disorder. Hey, there you go. There you go. Couldn't see. Does look good. Look at all them frogs. Oh yeah! I'm in my massage chair. And all the rollers are going back into place. Whoa! Whoa. Shabba-da-ba-bow. Ba-ba-da-ba-bow. Ba-ba-da-ba-bow. Ba-ba-da-bow. Ba-ba-da-bow. Sometimes I think I'm on the, what did I say, the spectrum of autism. I think that we need to think of the spectrum as a lot larger in many of these facets. To understand our personalities more and things that we need to focus on and be aware of. Whoa, I feel like I'm at the chiropractor. Whoa. I think I'll just play, I think I'll play Banner Saga on Xbox. Games Pass. Oh, nice dodge. Nice dodge, you jerk. You see that? That was awesome. Predator hides. Whoa, 3 hides from 1 predator? That gives you something to do, eh? Oh, it's kind of like an honorable thing, only hunting the hunter. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Whoa. Those are birds over there doing that? Those look nice. Old Kanazawa. Oh, Whoa. Oh. What do you guys think about the horse in this game? Hannah was asking me about the horse feel. So it feels kind of loosey-goosey. I mean, it's faster. Can't really do anything interesting with the horse, though. Like Sora. You named him Sora. Yeah, struggles to go through marshes. We're talking about the horse mechanics in Red Dead. I mean, Red Dead is so much more memorable because you can interact with the horse. You know, the horse has got a personality. It's got its own little mechanics. They have different attributes. You can improve the horse. The horse can die. Becomes pretty interesting. Survivor camp. Yuna. You have gold glowing on you. Maybe there's something else I can grab here. More kunai? The kunai are pretty badass. Red Dead 2 has yeah, exactly. Red Dead, too many mechanics. Too many mechanics, too many systems, too many animations. It's a lot to keep up with. No. I mean, Red Dead was kind of like this for me, where it's really impressive, but I didn't really want to play it that much. I find this game is... My attention kind of goes up and down, and the more I play it, the less I find it interesting. Or maybe there's just a lull in the story. Oh, Taka.
向こうも味方が欲しいんだ。うまくいく。
ではまず猛虎を打ち払い助力を願おう。槍川の者と話したいが町に入れぬのではな。
いや、入れる。隠れ道があるんだ。
それは子供の頃の話だ。もし残ってたってたどり着けないだろう。
やる甲斐はある。
それじゃあ猛虎の陣立てを見られる場所へ行こう。
Man, this back.
この町へまた戻ってくるとはね。どこを見ても昔が蘇るよ。
じゃあ目をつぶってな。
やりか。
I'm gonna just grab some coffee real quick. I'll be like 2 minutes. I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Yes. Coffee and strawberries. Not a great pairing.
乱の折、町にいたのか。
その前に町を出てた。
Strawberries.
ガキの頃さ。
親と共にか。
まあそんなとこ。
Check out my fly shooting gun.
この音ってもしや
町へ向かってる。
ここは待て。
消えたね。
So when you say strawberries with cream, you mean like whipped cream? Or sort of like a liquid cream, like a coffee cream? I mean, I've heard the phrase strawberries and cream more than I've ever had it. What's up with that?
来るんじゃなかった。
今さら何さ。
I like you,
こんなところ。
誰しもいつか故郷に戻る時が来て過去と向き合うのだ。
俺らの町。
敵に囲まれてるね。
槍川はもうおしまいだ。
ユナ、隠れ道はどこだ。
壁沿いに川が見えるだろう。あそこまで行けりゃ案内できるよ。
敵陣を抜けるなんて無理だ。それに隠れ道が猛虎に見つかれてもしたら槍川の民が殺されます。
タカ、お主の火事に命を預けた。お主も俺を信じてくれ。
Now it's time to trust your metal on my life.
川まで無事にたどり着けるでしょうか。
手はあるはずだ。こちらから仕掛けて猛虎を退けるか。
それはいけません。
そうだね。勝ち目は薄い。
I like these little moments in
長
investigations.
くは持たんだ。アザモと同じく槍川もじきに落ちよう。
槍川の連中、
Look at those
捕まるより
birds.
死を選ぶだろうね。隠れ道はあそこにあるはずだ。あの白い木の奥。
猛虎に見つかっておらぬとよいが。陣立てを抜ける手はないか。
川まで進めば見つからずに隠れ道を探せそうだ。
まさかそれが策？残っているかもわからない隠れ道のために見たこともないほど大きな陣立てを抜けるんですか？
I think the,
the
last 2 hours are kind of lacking because I didn't have a team with me for the interesting banter. I think this character on his own is pretty boring.
ブー君が必要なんだよ。早く島を出たいからね。
いい町だったな。
小さかったあんたにはわかんないよ。飯も食えないわっぱには槍川はひどいとこだったよ。
だから去ったのか。
いえ、俺のせいなんです。
あんたのせいじゃない。
Excellent samurai. Just working on the wheels. Longbow. This longbow is badass. Whoa.
私らを殺す気。
You were saying that is not good.
行こ
槍川なんかで命を懸けることになるとはね。
う。言い出したのはお主だ。
ブー君が必要なんだよ。早く島を出たいからね。
いい町だったな。
小さかったあんたにはわかんないよ。飯も食えないわっぱには槍川はひどいとこだったよ。
だから去ったのか。
いえ、俺のせいなんです。
あんたのせいじゃない。
God, that's fun. Heavy arrow, man.
酒井様、私らを殺す気。
That counts.
行こう。
槍川なんかで命を懸けることになるとはね。
言い出したのはお主だ。
ブー君が必要なんだよ。
Don't alert them.
早く
Well, there we
島
go.
を出
There's
たい
something
から
different.
ね。
いい街だったな。
小さかったあんたには分かんないよ。飯も食えないわっぱにゃ槍川はひどいとこだったよ。
だからさ、
俺のせいなんです。
あんたのせいじゃない。
Man, do we jump up in that thing? Gotta work on his wheels again. Why does he keep going to Kurosawa mode? Is that a button you can do? No. Weird. Uh-oh. Okay, different layer of strategy. So Dale, you're done with this game too, eh? What would you give what's your overall feeling on it? I mean, I guess you had agreed with what Lena had said, but getting a lot better later on. Actually, I remember you had said you beat it and you immediately wanted to play again. You're sad it was over. Gonna chop you all over. These guys love working on wheels. Chopping down trees. Chopping down trees. Don't do it. What a doofus. Does seem like I want you to go down this path. You can still see the village. Items to pick up. There's an enemy at their back to you. It's usually how it works. Walk towards their backs. There's a skill you can get where it's like you do stabby stab and then they don't oh, you can tell who's going to be alerted by it. That's what it is. Killer instinct. Yes. Flashing aura. But first you need to learn this one and this one. It's a lot. It's 3 to get to that. 3 things I don't really want. Maybe something with kunai. Maybe automatically parry spear attacks. It's not all that fun. Automatica. Moon Whirlwind. I could probably use this. I already have the roll. How about what? One of these. Circle and strike. Sprint strike. Terrifying parry. That'd be kind of fun. Ruins of Jericho. See these people like in your village taking over, chopping down the trees. You're basically just an empty view. Can't focus on talking about anything. Yeah, I felt that before. That's like a real depression where you just don't really feel anything. No connection. Nothing. You can just do word association if you like. I feel like if you've gone hollow. Dexter's turn. Blink. I'm hiding behind the tree. Whoa. Assassinate? Ooh, watching out for those bars going up. Do they bring in more enemies or just kind of bring them to a different side of things? Maybe while they're over there, I can grab and go this way. That's a good idea. Yeah, you guys all go that way. You know, maybe detecting them from farther away would be a nice one. Ghost. Yeah. And it'll move towards the thing I actually want to have. Cool. Seems to be a good spot. Put some supplies in here. They're flickering in the sea. Oh, Taka. Scaredy boy Taka. Wow, just a couple bodies hanging. They probably didn't feel a thing. Water looking nice. This guy's terrified of being caught and he won't stop making noise while we're sneaking. That worked out really well, except for those guys over there. There they go. They're all right on cue. Falling water, hard to render. Still water, beautiful. People get it. It comes and goes. It's sort of a slow descent. I've had it, I had a real major one. And then now I've become more aware of when it's coming and what it feels like, and I try to change things up to get away from it. My mom just went on the antidepressant. She says it works really well. She likes it. I had to do some right things just to get rid of mine. Hook up with somebody. I moved. Exercised more. Made some more money.
それより猛虎の囲いだが、己侍の格好なんかしやがって、誰から剥ぎ取りやがった。
野党じゃない、クロード様だ。
クロードだと。氏政様に合わせるが、妙な真似をしたらすぐに切り伏せるぞ。佐藤さんにお知らせしろ。直ちに。氏政、槍川殿の末の息子の名だが。槍川家は叔父上が追放したはず。
影じゃ未だに槍川がのさばってる。蘭は沈められても志村家を恨む奴らがその度に奪われるんだ。
猛虎が橋を渡ってくる。お主らついてまいれ。離れるでないぞ。
何でしょうか。
何やら騒がしい。
こりゃまずい。
頭もいる。町を落としに来たの。
It ain't no RPG if you can't do anything with that.
猛虎は何がのだ。アンマルメンズ、槍川の民よ。
我が名はテムゲ、この部隊の長だ。己らの返答次第で未来が決まる。道は2つ。我らが黒旗を掲げる前にこの門を開けば情けをかけよ。さもなくば己らにむごたらしい死をくれてやる。どちらかを選べ。長くは待たんぞ。
去ったな。行くぞ。槍川が下れば叔父上は追い詰められる。
心配ない。やすやすとは降伏しないさ。
槍川とて助けがいるはずだ。手を結び共に猛虎を撃てばよい。
槍川は志村様を恨んでいます。
生き延びたくば遺恨など忘れねばならん。
根が深いのさ。
No, so you gotta, yeah, it's hard. You just want to identify it. Kind of like keeping a journal on it can be really helpful. Tracking how you feel, maybe things that trigger it. And just writing down what you want. You don't want to feel like this. What do you want to feel like? And finding ways to do that. And they can help you if you are talking to a mental health professional. You can draw from the journal as well to help them understand what you're going through.
佐藤さんがお会いになる。
俺はこれで鍛冶屋を見ときたいんだ。
Nice top, but not.
酒井殿。
氏政殿か。
いやはや志村殿の甥子がよもやあのクロードの正体とは。知られれば罰されましょう。かつての我が槍川一族のように。
それは反乱の報いであろうが。
昔のことだろ。今はこの島の危機なんだよ。
こちらは下女ですかな。
槍川の出だよ。
だが地頭の手下になったか。
いや、この堺の一味さ。クロードのね。
囲いを破るお手伝いをいたそう。その代わり志村殿にご加勢願いたい。
猛虎の狙いは本土であろう。じきに対馬を去る。
Yeah, that's how it's gonna work.
槍川は滅びぬさ。
You're gonna hide here and they won't have any interest in you. What a fool.
助けなしでな。
But I guess what he has historically looked over.
鷹を探そう。とんだのなしだね。
まだ時はある。
島中が襲われてる。次は槍川なんだよ。これでもわから
I
な
guess
い
they
なら。
probably don't get the news out here.
鷹は毎日ここの鍛冶屋に通ってた。鉄の余りがあるときは親方の真似をしてたね。
タカタカタカタカタカ。
鍛冶屋とは会えたか。
代替わりして親方はもうどうでした。
氏政のやつは守り抜けると思ってる。
腕利きの弓取りらが氏政の命に背き猛虎を討ちに出てから行方が知れぬそうです。
そやつらを見つけ猛虎の囲いを破れば槍川と結べるやん。
元槍川で落ち合おうじゃないか。弓取りを探そう。
クロードの戦いを見せてやるか。
Oh, give me that technique point.
Let me use it now.
後継ぎはあの土を持ってた。
あんたが使わせてもらってたやつ。
覚えてたよりずっと小さかったよ。
Move faster? Sure. Take it.
いつも火事場にいたね。動かすのが大変で。元槍川で会おう。
Let's see. All right. The Dance of Wrath. Is that where it wants me to go? Journal. Coward of Yarikawa. Message in the fire. Return home to Omi Village. Yeah.
Ready?
Mongols here. Boom. Boom. Does look pretty cool, eh? More combos I think would be nice. I guess they split that up into the different stances, but it just kind of feels like you're stuck into switching to that stance. So much so that, I mean, the game will literally pause and tell you, switch to the stone stance. Don't fight sword guys. Joby, Joba, you're still far too terrified to get for a law psychologist, and people like that hear about you and your problems, and they're paid to do that. Well. Another combo 2 for each stance would have gone a long way. Aren't there ones like yeah, I mean you're I think that psychologists and therapists for the most part they really do want to help. You're paying just because they have actual expertise, right? They've spent their lives. I mean, do you feel like that way if you go to a doctor and they help you out? Like a physical doctor? And they fix your broken arm or something? Like the prostitutes, it's not they're like, I hate you and your broken arm, but if I have to, I guess so. Yeah. Some prostitutes like to make enjoy it. Maybe that's like a Lithuanian thing. Rough culture. The doctors feel overworked and overwhelmed. I know when I was in Hungary, I mean, the dentists there are so underpaid that, I mean, they gotta work like 12 hours a day just to make ends meet. And then people are always going to Hungary for dental tourism because it is so cheap, but you're kind of exploiting in a way. Actually, they could charge you more, because even if they charge you more than what they would charge the average person, it's still cheap for the person going there. No one becomes a psychologist by accident. They study to become one because they care. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously going to be people that are sick of it, don't want to do it anymore, but and they're doing it for the money. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of comes down to there is no excuse. You just have to get help, whether you think the person doesn't enjoy it, it's still like my back is in a lot of pain. I might need to go see a chiropractor. And even if I think something like, oh, this girl doesn't want to rub my back, I'm disgusting. At some point, I just need somebody to fix my back. Otherwise, you just adapt to living a disabled life. This looks like Aerith should be here.
Yuna, Taka mo yonda no ka?
来るなって言ったんだよ。
俺にも手伝わせてください。槍川に残っても役に立ちませんし。
死なれるよりはマシさ。
消えた兵の捜索など慣れてはおらぬだろ
う。励みます。お邪魔にはなりません。
分かった。だが用心し、ユナに従え。
承知しました。
手がかりはあったか？
この辺で見たって話だけど、気配はないね。
探してみよう。
Coward. We gotta go. He's a bloody coward! Look for signs of the actions. Someone killed him. Wasn't us.
焼き傷があるな。
でも矢がない。
誰かが抜いた。また使うんだろう。
かなりの腕前だな。足跡。さあ、いや4人だ。
どこへ行ったのでしょう。
調べよう。
ここではコオロギを取ったな。
よく来てたね。
それに竹を編んでカゴを作った。
なんでコオロギ取りしてたか覚えてる？母さんから遠ざけるためさ。腹を立てるとあんたに八つ当たりするから。コオロギに感謝しな。
Talk of the baby.
Samurai が住んでたね。相撲じゃ負けなしだって。
Oh, a bear. It's a friendly bear. That's the second time they've tried to do that, like a little bear jump scare.
熊が兵糧を食ったか。
おかげで死なずに済んだ。ありがたや。
矢尻に譲る三河用の皮も。
Well, here comes that light. Even if it's for their own ego. Yeah. Just think about it. If they can fix you and help your problem, they'll be so pleased with themselves. Just captured every base in the map. Think you're done with the game. Time to move on. What's your next game, buddy? Joby. Joba. Joby. Joba. Hey.
ゴザがある。ここに泊まったか。
熊には食われてなさそう。
海鳥はここにいた。
こっちに来て。焚き火がまだ暖かい。
この家を建ったばかりだな。近くにおるぞ。
That looks like something. Some kind of a map. No, that is not the clue. This is the clue.
もうこの火薬を盗んだのか。
いい根性してるね。
Interesting. Nino Kuni or Metro? Which one's Exodus? I've never played a Metro. But they were one of the first games that was always on sale on PS4. Killzone Shadowfall was the first sub $20 PS4 game I bought. That was sort of like greatest hits prices.
I
saw some articles saying Breath of the Wild should take the guiding wind mechanic. See, that's the thing with Breath of the Wild. It doesn't need it. I mean, maybe if you set a waypoint, sure, use the guiding wind, but Breath of the Wild isn't about that. Breath of the Wild lets you explore and find out. Hello, Arthur.
こっちへ来い。
槍川の弓取りと見受けるが
数は減った。兵糧を奪うため野営を襲おうとしたもののあえなく見つかってな。
他にはいないの？
捕まった。ここまで追ったが。
我らも手を貸そう。
うん。腕は立つようだな。わしは大国
酒井陣。
志村じゃない。なら手を貸してくれよ。
まず野営を見てみよう。捕虜を運ぶ部隊。どうやらじきに立つようだな。
元槍川の向こうにある野営に向かうのだ。立たれる前に動かねばなるまい。
槍川の弓取り、皆無事だ。
一時でも早く助けてやらねばな。
行き先はつかめた。先回りして罠を仕掛ける方がいい。
奇襲に向かない地形だね。
元槍川はどうです？
道の両脇に屋根がある。
盗んだ火薬も役立ちそうだ。
これは使える。なかなかの策士ですな。
That was actually a good point. We were talking about natural talent or just work to do something, and I was wondering. I was kind of making the argument that the natural talent to start off is what makes you want to keep working at it, and will let you get to that level. The prince had said the part of his argument that won me over was that some people will become doctors, which is a huge achievement, solely because their family pushes them into it, not because they have an aptitude for it or desire.
少しだけ姉さんもあなたも怖いものを知らずでしょ。
恐れを知る者こそが強くなる。父が言っておった。
俺に父はいません。怖くなると頭も体も動かないんです。
鍛錬が足りぬだけだ。ユナは幾度も七に立っておる。お主とは場数が違う。
姉さんには何度も救われた。
俺もだ。来たな。猛虎が近づいたら樽を入れる。
動けません。
お主ならできる。恐れる心を力に変えろ。
やってみます。今ですか？
まだだ。
まだだ。
もう十分近いですよね。
情け無用。
Like how they're getting off to just fight anything. Fight those bees! Without getting into the realms of determinism, purpose should come from within. Absolutely. Or like just like whether that's survival or what you truly want to do. That was fun. It was fun to decide when to shoot that and have an influence in the battle. Which one of the Mongols? They're in red. The beast! The beast! Not the beast! No! No! That must have been hard for him to film, because, I mean, that was in a time of not great CGI. You can tell they're like, yeah, we'll add some bees after, so, you know, act like bees are on you. Very, very literal. You listen to BBC Radio 4's Desert Island Discs, kind of a life of interview. It featured the writers and actress Sharon Hogan. She waited years before getting over the mental health because she feared she would lose something artistically. She did so. Yeah, I can see some people thinking like they need to have a drama or mental anguish to be creatively artistic or keep a part of the personality or something.
酒井殿。
よくやった大国。仲間を連れて槍川に戻れ。
直ちに。いやはやまさかあなたがあのクロードとは思いもしなかった。共に囲いを破ってはくれぬか。
氏政殿次第だ。
わしが取りなそう。噂通りだな。稀に見る豪のものじゃないか。
タカ、悪いけどジンと話があるんだ。
槍川で待ってる。やったよ。
タカが死んでもおかしくなかった。
If this is Banner Saga, Jin would have died, or Taka would have died.
しかし見事にやってくれたぞ。
置いてくればよかった。
言うな。心持ちはわかるが、タカは赤子ではない。
あの子は戦えない。
素質はある。
あんたは何も知らないだろう。
永遠にかばってやるつもりか。
タカのことは私が決める。口を出すんじゃないよ。
Yeah, you're dead, family.
もう戻らなきゃ。囲いを何とかするんだろう。
街で会おう。
That was a fun little mission. I like the timing of it, and it kind of felt like a big battle. Nice little banter, little story stuff. Taka's arc is growing. It's good. Unfortunately, that's going to be it for me today. I don't think I can play this game for more than like 90 minutes at a time. 2 hours tops. And then I get to the point where I'm like, yeah, just gotta switch off. It's just too... It's too samey. Oh, I got a technique point. That'll keep me in. Let's see. Ghost. Oh, I got my thing. I thought this was gonna... Oh, crap. They want 2 technique points. See you later. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll probably be switching off... I'll probably just, like, start off with a bit of Ghost and then... maybe, like, Banner Saga 2... Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think this game is beautiful. Does a lot of things really well. But overall, the execution of it, the pacing is... It's like a little too long, a little too big. I think it really struggles under being an open world game. I don't think it... that's... Maybe I just have a big problem with open world games, but I adored Breath of the Wild. So, one of my favorite games... That is my game of the generation, is Breath of the Wild. One of my, like, top 5, top 10 games of all time. But that game embraces the open world. This one does, but it just kind of does it in more of a generic way. You can... I mean, I like a lot of the ideas it's doing. Not using mini-maps, looking in the screen to see foxes, and... shrines and stuff. I don't really have any kind of a desire to unlock that stuff. I don't find it super interesting, other than the minigame for the bamboo strikes, because I like the reward you get, and I like the bamboo strike minigame. Yeah, it definitely embraces it, but I just don't think it does it in a really interesting way. It's not really enough interesting stories or variety. Its main problem is trying to make realism interesting. Realistic horse riding, realistic grapple hooks. And like Daryl was saying, could use maybe a bit more. Yeah, that's it. After the first, you're sort of like seeing, and you're like leveling up and getting better in different stances and stuff. And then you just get to the point where you go, all right, it's the same kind of combat all the time. And they really try to have a variety in missions and especially the villages and stuff. There's a nice variety there, but just kind of wear out on it. I still like to return to it, but after an hour, 90 minutes or so, sort of done. And I mean, it's like I wouldn't want to watch 2 or 3 movies a day. I don't think, unless they were really good. It's like doesn't have that loop. I'm trying to think of. I've been watching this reality show Below Deck, and it's the way it's set up. They're always showing you what's coming next, and I don't like that I'm watching it, but I'll end up binging it because it's just so hard to get out of the loop of watching it. And this game, I don't have that loop of like what's around the corner. I do slightly, just not a big strong pull to it. It's like, okay, I want to keep leveling up, but I've kind of hit all the main upgrades I want. Where I don't feel like I'm playing any differently. When I was leveling up to be able to execute 2 people or 3 people at once, that was pretty interesting, or some more combos. But like Daryl said, I could use some more combos for sure. I love the presentation of it. I mean, just look at the game. I like it as a tourism game, It's just gorgeous. Good. I mean, Jesus. Just to take it all in. I just don't find it super compelling most of the time. Anyways, that's more of like a critical edge. I'd probably my sliding review score has probably gone down to like a 7, strong 7. It feels so ridiculous to look at a game like this and not give it at least an 8. And that's kind of something I've always criticized a lot of mainstream games media, is that everything gets an 8. But I mean, when you do just looking at it, come on. And everything with it, it's like kind of an automatic 8. But then in terms of actual compelling fun and connection, I feel like I fall off on it. So, but I think I know that this type of open world heavy collecting is not for me when they do it in this way. It's a very North American open world third person cinematic game. It's kind of why, yeah, it is 10 minus lock on out of 10. Oh yeah, just the pacing is falling way off. That's why I love my buddy Ink's idea of the sliding scale review. It's not a 10 out of 10. It's like, it goes from a 7 to a 10. Sometimes it feels like a 10. Sometimes it feels bloody perfect. And then other times it feels like, It's sort of like a bad Woody Allen movie, or like a bad Marvel movie. Looks good. There's so many things to see. It's so impressive. But then kind of, like, you can't fault it on that, but then, like, is the story connecting with you the whole way through? So, yeah, I'd say, I'd be interested to hear opinions from people who are more into who really enjoy collecting all that stuff. Was that what was holding your interest the whole time? I love that it exists, and I love what they did, and I love a lot of the ideas. And even with some games that I truly, truly enjoy, like Ori, I could never play Ori for more than, you know, an hour and a half. And I loved it. It's just the way it was paced and kind of exploring a new area, finding it out, learning these new techniques, the big climactic boss chase sequence, and then, okay, I don't want to go into another area and do all that again. I'll just wait. And that's fine too, you know. And I think that's kind of the big thing with these games is they want to be these like 40-hour epics, but a lot of it is sort of like piecemeal stories. And it's nice because so many times you can go through that arc before you just need a break from it. What's wrong with his hand? Play your flute. Okay, I'm out of here. I'll be back with music in 2.5 hours. On Folvay Music. Or Matthew Folvay, I think it's called. Yeah, Matthew Folvay. Bye, everybody. Thank you very much. Bye, 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 bye. And then we'll start up some Banner Saga 2, I think, on Xbox Games Pass, so I can change my past to change the future. You know, for one, that the collecting element of Assassin's Creed boards pretty quickly, and yet you could 100% a 2D platform collectathon. Oh yeah, because it's the traversal is fun. In Ori and Hollow Knight, the way you move in the two-dimensional is so fun. Like, especially like in Ori when you're leaping off all the different enemies and zapping and pausing stuff and you're dodging all this stuff and just watching your character fly around. Or Hollow Knight. You know, air dashing and countering people and jumping around and like wall hanging. It's fantastic. The traversal in this is nice because everything you see looks great, but in terms of the actual gameplay of it, it's mostly just running towards. Can't really grapple like crazy. If you could grapple more off trees and kind of like throw yourself, kind of like I'm sure you can do in Spider-Man. I think it's missing that for an open world game. Red Dead had a very slowed down pace to exploring the open world, but there were constant stories everywhere, and you could really influence how those stories went with positive or negative reaction to people. It felt very dynamic, and there'd be lots of different minigames and stuff along the way. So you're constantly encountering story. You kind of encounter story here, but it's fairly generic. It's more like, my wife and kids are there. Mongols. Mongols. You know, where in something like Red Dead, it's the Pinkertons, the police, regular bandits, animals, and a pretty wide variety of animals. Like, people are searching for that perfect hide or whatever, cougar hide. So, interesting game. Always enjoy chatting about with you guys. I'm off to go kill a fly or two.